Hello, everyone. My name is Deblina Sarkar, and I direct the group named Nano-Cybernetic Biotech. And the goal in our group is to fuse nanoelectronics, applied physics with biology to create a new paradigm for life-machine symbiosis. Specifically, what you are doing is you are teaching the electrons new tricks to create new types of novel nanoelectronic devices, and you fuse these nanoelectronic devices seamlessly with our biological systems. So these nanoelectronic devices can co-live and coexist with our biological structures, and these nanobiohybrids can create novel therapeutics for neurodegenerative diseases, diseases of aging, which currently have no cure, as well as refractory cancer, cancers which are resistant to drugs, therapy, chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, or immunotherapy. So to start with, the brain diseases as an example. Currently, there is no cure for most of the brain diseases. And it can start from depression to neurodegeneration or obesity, anything that is connected to neural diseases. So one classical example of this, I think many of you in the audience may recognize this. This is a technology called deep brain stimulation, which is used for Parkinson's disease. And here you can see in your left, hand of a person is trembling. And when you apply this deep brain stimulation, basically you electrically stimulate the neurons in the brain, the trembling stops. However, it is interesting to note here is that it only ameliorates the symptom. It does not cure the disease. So the trembling of the hand stops when you do the stimulation. You stop the stimulation, trembling starts again. Moreover, the disease progresses over time. It is not curing the disease. So disease progresses over time, becomes worse, and maybe it's affecting the hand in the beginning, affects the legs and other parts of the body. So there is no cure for Parkinson's disease. For that matter, there is no cure for most of the brain diseases yet. And the reason for that is a gap in the technology. So currently, the deep brain stimulation is done with electrodes. So that requires creating a hole in the skull, putting a centimeter scale probe in. So first of all, it has low spatial resolution. Second, it is highly invasive. So once you put this centimeter scale probe in, it's almost like hammering a nail through your head. So it creates massive destruction of brain tissue around that implanted site. So currently, normally in the clinic, you put one or two of these electrodes in the brain. So you can stimulate only a few sites in the brain. However, most neurodegenerative diseases, the pathological sites are not localized to one or two sites in the brain. They are localized in multiple sites in the brain, which are very specific, small regions of the brain, but there could be surface nodes or nodes deep inside the brain. However, there is no way to use these invasive large electrodes to implant many of them in the brain, because it would be almost like an acupuncture of the brain, and it would cause massive destruction of the brain tissue. So clinically, you could do mostly one or two. So that is why it is difficult to engage large-scale brain circuits that are involved with most of the disease state. And that is the reason we have no cure for most neurodegenerative diseases, and you are only limited to ameliorating the symptoms. So if we want to overcome these challenges, what we really need are wireless, but not only wireless, but free-floating devices which could be very small, that could be distributed in the brain, but localized to specific target regions where these pathological sites are located. So to overcome those challenges of existing technologies and build such free-floating wireless nanoelectronic devices, we build electronics from atoms up. So this is one example of a transistor that we had built, which is only 6 atoms in thickness, and showed that it overcomes the fundamental limitation of power of existing technologies and also allows beyond silicon scalability. And currently, we are employing this expertise of ours to build wireless, sub-cellular sized nanoelectronic devices. So they are wireless and free-floating. So you do not need a wire coming out of an open wound in the body or wired anywhere inside the body. So they are subcellular in size. Each of the device is much smaller than even a size of a single cell, and they are free-floating, so they are not connected to a substrate or any wire. So these devices are so small that they can even live inside a cell or live in the extracellular matrix outside the cells. And so this type of technology can create a new era. So compared to a large electrode penetrating the brain, it can create a new era of wireless subcellular sized brain implants which can co-live and coexist with our biological structures. And they can be localized in specific regions in the brain that are related to those pathological sites. So now you must be thinking, is it really possible to stimulate the brain with these tiny nanoelectronic devices? Because currently the state of the art, as I said, is a centimeter scale probe. It is wired, so you can put in as much electricity as you want to stimulate the cells. So, but these devices are very, very tiny, and they are harvesting energy wirelessly. So would it be able to even harvest enough energy to create enough electricity to stimulate the brain? Our work has showed that it is indeed possible to stimulate the brain with these nanoelectronic devices, and it provides unprecedented spatio-temporal precision. The spatial precision of stimulation of these devices is much higher than it is possible to do with conventional electrodes. So they are able to stimulate very small, localized brain size which are related to the pathology. Moreover, the fact that they are very, very small and they are tiny, so that means you can have them in multiple sites of the brain. So for the first time, you can stimulate multiple regions of the brain and then can affect the large-scale brain circuit that can help us to go beyond the symptomatic benefits to actually cure these neurodegenerative diseases. We recently received the highest recognition from National Institute of Health for this work. We received the NIH Director's New Innovator Award with the highest and rarely achieved impact score that NIH ever provides to any project. The reviewers mentioned this technology seemed almost like something from a science fiction novel, but our data showed that it is indeed possible. And the reviewers also mentioned that this technology could herald a new era. So we are applying this technology to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease and diseases of aging. So in case of diseases of aging, we have developed another technology which you have shown that kind of for the first time can lead to discovery of previously unseen biomolecular building blocks in the brain that are related to these diseases of aging. And now we are applying our nanoelectronic devices to stimulate the specific pathological sites in the brain to modify the course of the disease beyond symptomatic benefits. We are also applying this technology to refractory cancers, which are resistant to drugs, any kind of radiation, or even surgery and immunotherapy. And one such cancer is glioblastoma. So glioblastoma currently has no cure. Once a person is diagnosed with glioblastoma, the median survival rate is only 12 to 15 months. And that is irrespective of a very, very robust standard of care, including surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, immunotherapy. None of this works. So we have, and another such cancer apart from glioblastoma is breast cancer brain metastasis. So the breast cancer is curable. However, 30 to 50% of women who get breast cancer also carry the risk that their breast cancer will metastasize to the brain. But when this breast cancer brain metastasis happen, this cancer also becomes incurable. So currently, drugs, chemotherapy, radiation, or immunotherapy does not work for this type of cancer either. So we have developed a novel bioelectronic therapy for cancer, which you can think of a fifth modality. And you have shown that this can cure and kill cancer cells, even those which are basically resistant to drugs and radiation. I'm very happy to share with you that we just recently got the Sontag Foundation Distinguished Scientist Award for this work, which is one of the highest honors in the field of brain cancer. So to summarize very briefly, our group develops wireless, sub-cellular sized nanoelectronic devices, devices which can coexist and co-live with our biological structures without destroying them, devices which can very specifically, electrically, or in other ways modulate the biological functions very specific to the pathological sites. And you are applying this technology to create novel therapeutics for neurodegenerative diseases, diseases of aging, which currently have no cure, as well as refractory cancers, which are resistant to standard therapies. So these technologies can also lead to implantables for healthy. So just like we have wearables for all, we can also have implantables for healthy individuals. So this could bring out information from deep inside the body where the signals from the wearables may not be able to reach. This could lead to early disease detection, which can be life-saving. So you can prevent diseases even before they occur. And overall, the aim in our group is to employ these wireless subcellular sized nanoelectronic devices, which can be seamlessly integrated into your body to transcend humans beyond diseases and their biological limitations. Thank you very much.